Yeah, well, you've been you've seen some very old footages, I think just around the time that Nkrumah was overthrown as president of the country. Quite mixed reaction at the time. Some clearly were not happy about it, some were happy about it. As far as Nkrumah's legacy is concerned, it's one that we'll continue to talk about, divided opinions, but you cannot deny the fact that he was very instrumental in the country's development to a very large extent. And also, there are some who have raised genuine questions about some excesses that did unfold during his tenure. Well, it's going to be a long weekend, and it's going to start today as we remember him, because he was born on the 21st of September. And every year, of course, we continue to honor him. And Monday has been declared a holiday because of that. Today, we're going to have a debate about the legacy of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. And the debate topic is very simple. We are saying that Nkrumah achieved more for Ghana's development in less than a decade than the MPP and NDC have in 30 years of democracy. That is the debate topic, all right? And in studio with me are some students with the University of Ghana Student Parliament House. So there's a minority caucus, a majority caucus, and I've got them in studio. I'm going to have them introduce themselves very briefly. Let me start with the gentleman in the, I'm sure it's a wine or red color there, mixed up twice. Jump, your name?
Hi, my name is Kwame Nkrumah. Yes, I am a minority caucus member.
Minority caucus, great.
All right, so my name is Jeremy Azumah. I'm the second deputy speaker for the University of Ghana Parliament House.
Awesome, great. And I've also got, let's start with the lady.
My name is Pukia Millicent, majority caucus.
And?
Okay, in the first place, thank you, and good morning to your cherished and lovely viewers out there. My name is Mbawin Obed Mbabila, and I'm the first deputy minority whip of the University of Ghana Parliament.
Awesome. So already they've taken their stance. You guys are for the motion?
Yes, for the motion.
Yes,
you believe that Nkrumah's legacy,
yes,
contribution to the country's development is far greater than what we've seen since 1992?
That is undebatable.
Well, and you are clearly against the motion, right? So quick ground rules. We're going to have the two speakers. The main speaker is going to speak for 5 minutes, just for time constraint, 5 minutes. Then the, the supporting speaker will have their turn within 3 minutes to make the argument. And when we are done, well, I'm not the one going to decide who wins the debate. You are the one going to decide it. So that's how it's going to happen, all right? So 5 minutes, I'll be timing you. When it's done, I'll just prompt you and we'll be done with it, okay? So when we're done, we've still got some other colleagues of them also in the studio. The speaker of the University of Ghana Student Parliament House is here with me. Herbert, he's here. And Herbert, we do acknowledge you, and hopefully we'll get to hear his thoughts on this very subject as a neutral person on this one. So we're going to start, and of course you can see the debate. You might see it on your screen very shortly, but it's behind us. You can see that is the topic we are delving into. And we're going to go straight into it with the gentlemen who are for the motion that Nkrumah achieved more for Ghana's development in less than a decade than the MPP and NDC have in 30 years of democracy. The first speaker is going to have his turn for 5 minutes.
Thank you. Now. And in the first place, 30 years of democracy. The NPP and the NDC are yet to match the transformative vision of one man. And I mean one man, and that is Dr. Kwame, or Sergeant for Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. In the first place, I would like to touch on the education and health. When you want to assess the educational, field in the Nkrumah's regime, you realize that he was able to, establish a lot of the universities, secondary schools, and all that, training colleges and more. And you can talk about the University of University of Cape Coast. That's the UCC, and the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, which most of the current leaders, heads of state and government officials attended, and they are equipped with more knowledge and wisdom. And I would like to talk about the health aspect too. You can see that Nkrumah expanded the Kolebe Teaching Hospital, and he built the Konfano Teaching Hospital, which has been well equipped, and it has met the health needs of the Ghanaian populace over the years. And I would like to talk about the economic development. Let's talk about infrastructure. He built the Akosombo Dam, which has distributed electricity to the whole part of Ghana and beyond. And which the current MPP and NDC are even, struggling to meet the demands of the Ghanaian people when it comes to electricity supplies and all that. They're unable to keep our power on and more all of that. And I would like to talk about, another infrastructure, which is the construction of the Temamoto Way, which is, boosted the economic, needs of the country. And when you want to compare that to the current MPP and NDC, which I repeat, 30 years in democracy, MPP and NDC are yet to meet the transformative vision of one man. When you realize that a lot of potholes are on the Temamoto Way because it has served the Ghanaian populace for quite some time now. And just imagine what they've used concrete to do. This MPP and NDC people use coal to do it. This is something that is very nonsensical. Sorry, and excuse my words. More to the point, I would like to talk about okay, let me add to this. In the first place, I think 5 months ago, 6 months ago, when the running mate of the NPP, that is Dr. Matopo made a comment against Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, you can, see the backlashes from Ghanaians to the extent that he was even fed up with the country to the extent that he needs to come and apologize. So whoever thinks that, comparing NDC to MPP to Dr. Kwame Nkrumah is something that nobody, concerned citizens should ever do that comparison. And as a youth, and in the first place, let me add to this. As a youth and a concerned citizen who wants to see this country strive and grow, that's the greatest mistake you can ever do is to compare MPP to NDC. That's as a youth and a youth who has a vision for this country.
2 minutes more. Okay, sure.
Okay, so when I saw the topic, Kwame Nkrumah's achievement in 10 years, less than 10 years or a decade, has achieved more than MPP and NDC in 30 years. I had an issue with the topic because NPP as a party goes nowhere near this topic because they are against national development. Comparing Nkrumah to NDC would have sounded better. That's to the point of my understanding. Because you can understand how the NDC sees to make life better for the Ghanaian populace as compared to the NPP. So comparing Dr. Kwame Nkrumah to NDC would have been much better and, sorry to say, sensible to the Ghanaian populace as compared to the NPP.
All right, your time is up. That's the main speaker. That's the main speaker for the motion that Nkrumah achieved more for Ghana in a decade than MPP and NDC did in the last, in the last 30 years. That's the main speaker. Let's hear from the opposing speakers and starting with the main one. All right, guys, so time starts now.
Okay, so thank you for the opportunity once again. Firstly, I would like to say that what I would be saying in my speech in any way is going to be devoid of any hate speech and any form of political rhetoric or propaganda that aims to tarnish the image of the very important leaders that we'll be discussing in today's debate. But then again, I would like to say that we thank you for the opportunity for inviting us here. As youths, we think that being part of this conversation is very integral because you guys are able to nurture us and shape us. We don't think we have all the ideas. We are here so that we undergo this exercise and that we become better as a result of this exercise. To begin with, I admire all the leaders that we are going to be speaking about today, especially Dr. Kwame Nkrumah in question. Even though we are against the motion, I feel like on an individual basis, comparatively across the continent, he stands out to be one of the most important people and leaders we've ever had. But then to use him, to compare his legacy against that of a collective group of leaders, somehow creates a kind of friction that has repercussive effect for the entire nation when it comes to the political divide that we currently have. And that's why for me it's a sensitive topic and we need to approach it with the utmost political correctness as much as possible. First of all, I think we're all familiar with the phrase, all good things come to an end. And so I agree that Nkrumah has done good for Ghana, but then I think for in the best way possible, he outlived his relevance, okay, and that brought about a couple of problems for us. My mother would tell you that when you are welcomed into someone's home, you don't overstay your welcome, otherwise you become a nuisance to the person. All right. So I think Nkrumah's philosophy of self-democracy now, or self-independence now, was something that was supposed to kickstart a developmental process for Ghana that he wasn't supposed to continue. So it's like Moses, you would see the promised land, but you wouldn't get there. And so that was what I feel Nkrumah's legacy was, that he should have helped us get to that promised land, but thereafter he should have created sustainable systems that would be able to catapult us to where we need to be. And that's what I think he lacked, because Nkrumah, I would say, was a transactional leader, short-term, goal-oriented. We needed to get this thing done. We did it. Thereafter, we needed transformational leaders to set up systems. And so you recognize, first of all, the problem we have with Nkrumah's sort of philosophy is, first of all, the social contract principle that says that you need to serve the people that are within your nation, okay? But Nkrumah was a Pan-Africanist, and so he tended to expend Ghana's resources to help our neighboring states and states across Africa, military support, training, financial support, to help them also gain independence. We think he did it for free, like with no ties or with nothing in return, not asking for anything in return. And so that undermines the very social contract principle that says that you should serve those who put you into power, because those should be your priority. But then I would also like to talk about the political climate at the time and the fact that Nkrumah was shifting towards a very authoritarian kind of leadership style, which became bad because we saw the PNDC being a tool for silencing the media, preventing free speech, and taking on political actors in the states that just were antithetical to Nkrumah's ideas, which was not fair and without a fair trial. And so I think these kind of things are excesses. I agree that he was a good man, but these are excesses that I think deter the development of our state, which we don't see today, because today we have dual party system, or at least that's the majority, but then we have multiple party systems that encourage the different ideas and different factions to exist, and that reduces heavily the friction that we continue to see, that we saw during his time. Well, we should acknowledge, for example, Rawlings, who came to transition Ghana from the chaotic military rule to democracy. I think that's a huge landmark event for him at the time, and he's part of the leaders we're also considering in today's conversation. I also think that things like scale of impact. Yes, Nkrumah set up the Akosombo Dam that provided electricity, but then Rawlings, for example, extended that supply to the northern region. I think that is good, because we are talking about sustainable development here, and that means that we have to be able to scale up and serve the needs of the growing population of Ghanaians. And I think that's something that Nkrumah's policies at the time did not cater for, the exponential growth in our population that we're going to foresee. And how to take care of that is what the modern leaders have done, the NDC and the MPP, expand things like access to education. Now, education at the secondary level is free. Education at the university, first year, that's the no free stress policy, is also free as well. So I think this is just exponential and good for our states presently, and that as a result of the post-Nkrumah leadership, has done significantly well in making sure Ghanaians have access to just a decent life and decent living. Thank you.
Great. So that's it. The time is up. Well, we've heard from the main speakers, and if you want to know what we are dealing with, we can have the debate topic on the screen again. It's a simple question that Nkrumah's 10 years contribution to Ghana, based on that, he's done much more than all our leaders have in the last 30 years. We're talking about Rawlings, John Ajikun Kufuor, President Atamios, President Akufo-Addo, President John Mahama. The point is that Kwame Nkrumah has done better than all these leaders, and we have those who believe that very motion and those who are against that motion. Now, we've heard from the main speakers. We're going to hear from the supporting speakers now, and we're going to come to you, my lady. 3 minutes.
Thank you very much, and good morning once again. I am very delighted to be on this show and to talk about Dr. Kwame Nkrumah's legacy. Before I commence, my opponent talked about Nkrumah lacking sustainability. I strongly disagree, because he was a visionary leader, and then he thought about generations. He also mentioned Rawlings extending the Akosombo Dam, which, if Dr. Kwame Nkrumah had not built the Akosombo Dam, what would he have extended? I leave that to you to answer. Even if you argue his governance was flawed, the real question is whose achievements last longer? Let me take you back to the Akosombo Dam. That is what we are benefiting from right now. The lights, when you're in your house, you charge your phone. We even use electricity to wash our clothes, talking of washing machine. It's all thanks to Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. I will also take you to roads. Let's look at the Akatama motorway. It is still in existence. What is the NPP and NDC government doing? All they do is to patch potholes. And even with that, how is it like? They do it anyhow. I don't know if it is the work of the contractors, but same contractors under Dr. Kwame Nkrumah's governance built the road. So why can't now modern day contractors also do the same thing, but rather do it anyhow? In few years, there is potholes causing accidents. I will also talk about the Tema Harbour. Still on you talk mentioning sustainability not being in place. Before that, let's look at these interchanges built by the NPP and NDC governments. Recently, there were news circulating that one of these interchanges that I wouldn't like to mention name is losing its boats. Have we heard that about the Kwame Nkrumah motorway? Maybe 100 years to come. Dr. Kwame Nkrumah positioned Ghana as a leader in Africa's independence, struggles, and global politics. He helped establish the Organization of African Unity, the OAU. He raised Ghana's international profile for beyond what we see today. If we are to look back at what Dr. Kwame Nkrumah laid down, we can clearly see where Ghana came from.
Well, your time is out. That's the supporting speaker for the motion. Well, against the motion, supporting speaker, you've got 3 minutes. Okay. And the public you're watching, you tell which of them managed to convince you. 3 minutes.
Right. Thank you and good morning, Ghana. Thank you to the studio for allowing us to be here today. Well, I would like to say kudos to Dr. Kwame Nkrumah because his achievements are things we cannot discuss right now, else we would have a long-running debate based off of infrastructure and things that are probably going to have to be run by other governments sooner or later, because every government that comes into power comes in with their new projects, comes in with a lot of things. I'll answer your question. The Akosombo Dam would have probably existed one way or another, even if not for Dr. Nkrumah, because the incoming president would have still had to find a way to provide us electricity. But I'm not going to go more into that. I would just like to say that my mother once told me, referring to Jeremy's speech, that when a man comes from a particular place, you do not point your left hand in the direction of the place. So I'd like to say a huge thank you to Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, wherever he is, may he so rest in peace. But one thing that these leaders all have in common is the fact that they're all democratic leaders. And based off of that, we are going to run today based off of democracy in itself.
I have 2 minutes.
Now, a leader, I believe, is not somebody who just makes his team run well in his presence, but his team should be able to run well even in his absence. Now, let's look at after Nkrumah. Nkrumah was visionary. He had everything in his mind. But that was the problem, and that was the problem that we are seeing right now. The whole system was built around one man, and it has caused it to deteriorate in his absence, because what good is a vision if it can't be carried down by the rest of the other people? I believe that he did not have the transitional prowess of these other presidents that have shown to us that they can actually carry down policies. Look at VSHS that was initiated by just the former president, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. That has been continued by John Dramani Mahama, even extra implemented into the no-fee stress. They all have this nice level of continuity, but Dr. Kwame Nkrumah's policies were not able to run past generations, and that's because of how he ran the administration, and it made Ghanaians also dependent on him as a person, and we only had to depend on him as our president. But I do not believe that that's how democracy should be run. And looking at the global development at the time where Nkrumah was president and now where we have the Fourth Republic presidents, we can see that there has been changes in the global development. That is, there has been research, there has been development in other areas. Initiatives that he would have run back then are being investigated now and would probably be done better by them because of the access to information and knowledge that has increased exponentially. Like Jeremy said, collectively, if we are to put together all the presidents, I do not believe that they would not surpass the achievements of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. He has done incredibly well, but collectively, I do not believe that. Thank
All
you.
right, so that's been the argument, at least in the last 15 to 16 minutes. They've made their case why they believe Nkrumah is the greatest among all the leaders we have had since 1992, and then we've had others who believe that collectively, since 1992, the leaders we've had and their contribution to Ghana's development has been much greater than what Nkrumah did in 10 years. Well, we do have some people in the studio audience. We're not sure what they have to make of this debate. We're going to hear from them very briefly. Hopefully we can do about 40 seconds for each. Well, let me start with Herbert. Of course, I know your name. So Herbert, you've got 40 seconds. You can make your case on where you stand.
Okay, that's great. Good morning, Ghana. Good morning to our cherished listeners. With this particular topic, I would like to state that, one, comparing Nkrumah's developments, projects, and all to that of NPP and DC, it makes it kind of a comparative debate, and hence we move on from whatever it is, either being infrastructure to impact and legacies. And we can also consider the critical junctures at which Nkrumah was. It's very, very distinct and different as compared to the one that we have. His time was interrupted democracy until his later 3 years before he was overthrown, whereby it turned into a one-party state, which is very different. And we have an uninterrupted experience of democracy in the Fourth Republic. So these are metrics that I think we should be considering. And I do believe that if you are to look at sustainability, Nkrumah has to do a lot with that. But what we have to do is, the question that we have to ask ourselves is that, what measures are we putting in place to make sure that whatever we start, we finish? Are we having a plan as a country and many other things in place? So this is a very, very interesting discourse that I do believe we should extend beyond this particular studio.
All right, great. Let's have the next person share your thoughts on this topic, and we want the conversation to continue across our platform. Let's hear from you.
All right, thank you very much.
Yeah,
for
you got
the
40 seconds, so please do that.
My name is Raymond Atram for the University of Ghana Parliament House Minority Caucus. Good morning, everyone. So my view for this, interesting topic is, I first off admire the contribution of our first president. He had laid solid foundation for the development of our country, and that is the reason why we have so much hope that we are going to develop in years to come. His remarkable statement he made that forward ever, backwards never. It's one inspirational speech he had made to, drive the country forward. Considering his developmental project, which he has made, giving us the Akosombo Dam and then various infrastructure like the Tema motorway and the harbor, and also the Tema industries. These are some foundations which is driving the nation forward industrially. And then looking at the systems we have under the Fourth Republic, they've also done immensely well. contributing to, the liberation we have under democracy, so that everyone will be included in our participation of governance.
Well, great. Let's hear from the lady now. You just say your name and then make your point.
Okay, my name is Pelyaira Dogbe from UGPH Minority Caucus. Well, it's a very interesting topic. Nkrumah has done a lot. Well, I believe in every lever there is a bow. There are shortcomings. Yes. And he did a lot. But then as I heard from the speakers, they said he was authoritarian. Yes. The authoritarian rule. Yes. It included suppression of press freedom and a whole lot. So if we are also talking about sustainable development, yes, I believe they've spoken much.
Okay.
Spoken much.
Well, great.
Yeah.
Let's hear from the gentleman finally. And as I said, please let the conversation continue because it will not end here. Finally, 40 seconds. Let's wrap up.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. My name is Haruna Osman, the majority member of the University of Ghana Parliament House. So if I say I'll start talking about this topic, I don't think we will finish. Yes, so shortly, I agree with the majority caucus. Nkrumah has really done a lot for Ghana, honestly speaking. He had only 9 years, and these are our current leaders. If I should add their years, almost like 30 years. Yeah, so Nkrumah has really done a lot. If he was the one who got this 30 years, I think Ghana might be like Singapore or America, honestly speaking. Yes.
Well, interesting. That's been the views of our speakers, guys. A bit prompted that we need to wrap up now, but we want to continue the conversation, especially as we get into the Nkrumah holiday, Nkrumah festival. What do you think of it? 30 years since the Fourth Republic, the leaders that have come compared to the 10 years that Nkrumah was in charge as leader of the country. Do you think Nkrumah's 10 years achievement is far greater than what we've seen from Rawlings, John Agyekum Kufuor, Professor Ivan Satanos, President Akufo-Addo, and John Mahama? That debate will continue, and we've made an attempt to exhaust it here on Prime Morning. And well, thank you very much, guys, for coming. Not sure what the public will say, but we streamed it. You can go and see what people have to say about the ideas you shared, and we'll see how all of it unfolds. My name is Razak Pusbao, and of course, we've enjoyed it. On Monday, we're going to have an even more exciting Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Day show here on Prime Morning. Thank you very much for your company.